next speaker that we have, it's a see-through from me and from my daughter. We both are students of the next speaker, and it's a person that showed me how to, in reality, how to start reading meditation. It's my sifu in Tai Chi, it's my sifu in Kung Fu, and he's one of the persons that I always like to ask for advice in my life. Welcome, Simple.
Can I also have my leaf here like you did? She started 4 years old as a panda with me at the school where I teach 20 hours a week. You can start at 4 years old and all the way up to like 68. I'm using slides, which I never use, so it's just on working. Yes. So yeah, Juan Carlos, Limitless Mindset, I want to also thank you for the invitation. I was very happy when I was invited to do a talk. I wouldn't call it a speech, but a talk on, keep it on that one, on acceptance. And of course, thank you for coming as well. And if you know me a little better, I couldn't resist a little play in words as soon as he has that big, that this would be, is it working? Where do I have to aim? My acceptance speech. So obviously I'm not up here to receive, I'll keep this in my hand, any reward. I think the reward is that I hope that some things resonate. You guys take home certain tools perhaps that you can use or implement, or just that you find inspiration in some of the stories here. I think, I got inspiration from hearing your story, and a lot of things I recognize as well. So to me, the foundation of acceptance is self-acceptance, and of course accepting others, but I think it starts with yourself. And I heard the word love already, and so that's of course very important. But also accepting, no matter what your background, of course your culture, your religion, your race, your color, your shape, your size, your sexual orientation, whatever it may be, that we accept that from ourselves, of course, but also from others. And I think it also goes a little bit further in a world right now where there's a lot of division, that we also learn to accept each other's different types of beliefs. Actually, I'm going to stay here because I just put the camera up here. Correct. We all have different views. We all have different ways of looking at things and beliefs, and I think there's a lot of conflict there. Political views, spiritual, religion, and I think the acceptance is also loving everybody. It doesn't mean you have to like everybody. There's a difference. You don't like everybody you encounter, but there's a sort of foundational acceptance of where you are. And indeed, as I heard your story as well, acceptance doesn't mean you don't do anything or that you're passive. And at the same time, the flip side of the coin is, I do strongly believe there are some things that are not acceptable, and we have to accept that these exist as well, of course. That's the paradox, like racism and hunger in the world, all these kind of things. So I don't believe acceptance means you sit back and don't do anything. On the contrary. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about this afternoon is a little bit about accepting external circumstances. I like this quote by William James, the kind of like the father of American psychology. Acceptance of what has happened is his first step to overcoming the consequences of any misfortune. And I'm going to go a little bit deeper into that. A little bit, this is more my own kind of, that's why I put my name on this ball, derived from Tai Chi, the journey to inner peace, harmony, you guys can read, and self-mastery begins not when we fight against life currents, but when we learn to flow with it, acceptance. So I also have students here from Tai Chi, from Kung Fu. Laura's sitting here as well, so it's like 3 students here today. And we also learn to do that on a physical level, going with life's currents. So it's not resisting, it's giving with. I tried with you. That was a little bit a different matter. So to me that's the foundation. And could end the speech right there, but let's just accept everybody for their beliefs, their religion, their color, their culture, their race, all these things. So I do think it starts with that, and that's the most important. And then we also, of course, have things that happen in our life. And I think it's very important that we also don't compare, because if I look at the story I'm about to share, there's obviously people in the world that go through far more hardships, difficulties, people living in war zones, all this. But at the same time, we have our own personal journey. And I think it's very important that we also take that serious in the sense that we accept it. So you might have heard of this term before. put this down for a second. The dark night of the soul. I think everyone perhaps has gone through their own dark night of the soul, where you go through a difficult period. And to me, I promise to share this story, but so I am. That happened around 22 years ago that it started. Within a period of 4 or 5 years, first of all, the company that I owned, I had a market research company with 40 employees, went bankrupt. The mother company was in the World Trade Center. So I think we all know what happened there. So it was around 2001 that I got into difficulty. I went through a divorce with 2 young children, so that was quite heavy. And I was living on my own, and about a year later I got into a new relationship. I was living with her. I moved in like after half a year. We were living together, had future plans, and she died in a fatal accident. So within a period of, and it's all like more than 20 years ago, so I'm in a different spot right now. But I just recently actually prepared the speech, and I heard in a movie, someone said, I didn't know that rock bottom had a basement. I thought that was a good one. I wanted to read that. It's a little cliche. It was in some series. But that kind of did hit home. It was like, whoa, I was feeling really sorry for myself. I was feeling really bad. And, you know, of course, justifiably so. A move, a divorce, company bankrupt, of course, perhaps emotionally. Although the divorce, I can't say is even less emotional, but a new relationship that passed away abruptly, a fatal accident. So that was a lot to deal with, and I crashed. I'd already been doing martial arts for about 18 years, so already quite some time. Yet what I learned on the mat, in the dojo, the Kuan we say in Chinese, or how to defend myself on the street, I wasn't applying to my own life. So I went through a period of denial, escaping, going out, probably drinking too much back then. Not too wild, it was like in the weekend, because I had a job, I was still doing martial arts, but it was all kind of sliding downhill. And it got to the point that I wasn't really taking care of myself as I should. I also had 2 children, let me see, at that time, 7 and 9 years old, so big responsibility there. And I remember it was a cold November, I'm gonna make it a little atmosphere, a cold November night. I was in this furnished apartment in Amsterdam. And I gotta remember to stay here, then you don't have to keep moving. And I really, that was that rock bottom, like, wow, my whole life, I failed as a father, my business failed, my relationship's gone. And it was kind of like also a turning point. It was like, is this the life I want? Is this how I wanna continue? Should I just accept this? So, you know, am I going to be a victim of my circumstances, or am I going to do something about it? And I had 2 children. I think that really helped me a lot. Without them, who knows what I would have done. I think for parents here can understand that. And if you have loving parents, you can understand that as well. But that is, of course, very important. So I can't continue this way. It's not good. I'm feeling bad. Yes, terrible things happen, but what next? Where am I going? And since I only have 18 minutes, I'm going to move on. So to me, these 3 words kind of came out when I thought about acceptance. So honesty. Honesty, I think, is a very important one. I heard it here as well. Where am I? Where do I want to be? What am I doing? Is it what I want to be doing? With whom am I? What are my relationships, my work? So you really have to face yourself there. So I reached that rock bottom and I said to myself, no, I got to get out of this. I got to get honest. Is this how I want to continue? No, I don't. And then you have a responsibility as a grown-up. As a grown-up, you have a responsibility. For children, it's a different matter, of course, to say, okay, if, you know, I can keep pointing the fingers, and at the end of the day, you know, we have to set our sails different. It's not the wind, the wind's blowing us all. I heard about the seasons. We have the seasons. There's the winter, there's the summer. We also have that in our own life. And it depends where you go. It's really how you set your sails. So I had to make some wise choices. I had to decide to do something different. And I started working on a methodology that was already based on my 18 years of martial arts experience. Since I was 15, I was already like really interested in Buddhism and Taoism. So I started incorporating that, and I started working on myself. Every thought I had, I started writing, journaling. I can highly recommend that if you're not doing it. put everything out in the physical world. And I started asking myself quality questions. The quality of life, it's not my quote, I forget who said that, depends often on the quality of your question. So is this action, is this thought, is this what I'm doing, is it bringing me closer to where I want to be? Or is it pushing me further away? I might sound a little bit strict. I mean, we all have our moments where you do whatever and have fun and it might not bring you anywhere, it's just for the pleasure. But in my life, I really had to take that responsibility and say, okay, this action, this thought, what am I doing? Is this bringing me closer? So I slowly started developing a methodology for myself, really, to turn my own life around, to make sure that I would make more wise choices. And I'll get to that in a second, what is a wise choice? And slowly, my life started turning around. I started looking at more positive things. I started training more. I was focused more with my kids. I was able to give them quality time. And I can't say I was completely healed within a year, but within a year, my life had completely turned around. I was thinking more positive. I was eating better again. I increased my training schedule, like 10 hours extra a week. Yeah, I was a full-time martial artist. 10 hours is extra, so I know that's already a lot. I don't train that much anymore. So I was looking at all aspects of my life and seeing where could I improve, where could I make better decisions, what would bring me further. And I worked out a methodology that worked for me, and then that's something I wanted to share. So that actually became my passion. So roughly 20 years ago, I decided to really dedicate myself full-time to teaching martial arts first and foremost, because to me, martial arts is about focus and discipline and self-confidence and perseverance, not giving up, but also self-confidence. I think that's a very important one. And also accepting where you are. Now, acceptance, so I turned my life around and got out of that. And right now, by the way, I'm living my purpose. I'm in a relationship with my soulmate for the last, actually today, 7 years and 10 months. So that's thank you. And I think I also had to become the person that would attract the person that I wanted in my life. So yeah, so my whole life turned around. And for the last, I would say already a good 17 years, I've been living my passion on, everyone's journey is different. Everyone's journey is unique. And at the same time, I think as human beings, we have things that bind us, that bring us together, and that are the same. We all want to live our purpose. We all want to feel good about what we're doing. We all want to be inspired. We want to feel like we're doing something that counts, perhaps even leave a legacy. And that could be anything. I mean, that could be a mother, stay-at-home mother. That could be a bus driver. That could be someone doing coaching. It's not that there's any one occupation to reach that. I think though important though is the honesty, and that comes with responsibility. Are you really doing what you want to do? And take a good hard look at that. Is it really where you want to be? And then, as I said, then you have a responsibility. So I believe it's in AA, I love these quotes. Everyone's seen this one before, probably. Accept the things I cannot change, have the courage to change the things that I can, and have the wisdom to know the difference. Another one, not mine, from Buddhism. I believe Eckhart Tolle uses it. Everyone's heard of it before. Yeah, but the things he say, with all due respect, people were saying 2,000 years ago also already. This one became an important one. And I often have to explain it. I think the other evening in class I was talking a little bit about this. I've come to the realization that you want to be in one of these three positions or situations and nowhere in between. Anywhere in between causes stress. And I'm going to explain all of them. So you're in a job that you don't like, but you can't change it for that moment. You can't leave it. So for the moment you accept it. Now when people hear acceptance, they often, as I said, they see this as something passive. Meaning, okay, doesn't mean if someone's hitting you in the face, you just accept it. And there are certain self-defense principles. I wouldn't accept an abusive relationship. I mean, there's certain things you really want to get out quick, but you might be in some country or some situation where even there could be a struggle to immediately get out. So the story, I'm going to share that again, that I always teach children, is you have 3 children, and the next day they're going to go swimming. And it's the first day of summer. They've been waiting all winter to finally go swimming. They can't wait. They have their swimming trunks all ready. And they wake up in the morning. One kid pulls the curtain open and sees it raining, starts crying. So it's crying, goes to bed crying, sad all day. That has a bad day. The other kid opens the curtain, looks, and gets really angry at the rain. So screaming at the rain, angry, all day angry, goes to bed angry, probably gets up the next day, still angry. The third kid pulls the curtain, looks, and says, okay, it's raining, a little disappointed, and then goes and does something else. So then my story, which would be a simple answer for you guys, is does the rain make you sad? Does the rain make you angry? Does the rain make you happy? No, it's an internal decision. So when we're in a situation like that, if it's raining, doesn't mean we're passive. If you're in a situation you don't like, it doesn't mean you just stand in the rain and go, okay, it's raining. No, by not resisting, you relax. You don't go into stress modus. So who was here for the stress? Then we had a little while. Yeah, so stress obviously is a big thing. To me, and not living in any one of these things causes stress. So if you say, yes, but it's a terrible boss, I don't have another job right now, and I got to pay my bills, but I'm not accepting it. So from acceptance that is how it is for this moment, you're able to relax. You're more calm. Your breathing is deep. You don't go into fight or flight. When you go into fight or flight, your blood pressure goes up. Everyone kind of knows this, probably right. Blood is pumped to your arms and legs, goes predominantly to your arms and legs. It's pumped away from your organs, less oxygen to your brain, so your IQ goes down roughly 40 to 50%. Some people, I think, even higher. Cortisol and adrenaline are dumped into your body, and you also become hyper-focused. So there's some things out there right now, I'm aware of that, we talked about this well, yes, but sometimes it could be good. Perhaps for like a deadline, very short period, but it's not healthy. It's not a healthy position. It's really meant to run away from something dangerous. So when you become hyper-focused, your creativity also completely shuts down. If you see a lion, you don't look at the lion and go, all right, let's see, all right, maybe you can help me, or maybe I could. No, your options, you see the worst case scenario, because that gives you the biggest chance of survival. That's what stress does. No creativity, hyper-focus. I'll jump over the cliff and rather get ripped apart. So it's not a state you want to be in to make a positive change in your life. So accepting it just means you accept it for the moment. Okay, it's raining, and now I look around, and oh, there's an umbrella. So it's raining, rain should be raining. So otherwise you're putting all this energy, anger, into resisting what is at the moment. Once again, that's not a passive. So from the acceptance, you're able to be calm, relax, your blood is flowing, more oxygen in your brain, and you'll make a better decision. So you actually have more options. You become more creative. And you'll probably have a different energy when you go for the job interview, too. Like, I got a terrible boss and got to get out of this job as quick as possible. Right? So once again, there are emergency situations that you have to get out quick. Like I said, I wouldn't accept an abusive relationship, not something like, well, someone's punching you, I should just accept it. So there's certain situations, if it's life-threatening or dangerous, you just get out as quick as possible. And then from that point, you can leave. Or maybe there's an option to change. Maybe you talk with the boss and you get a better salary and you tell him he's being rude or whatever, and he changes. So that's small, but that could happen. That could be in a relationship too. So maybe you still believe in the relationship. You put all this time and effort in it, and every relationship has struggles and difficult times. So I'm not just going to accept this. It's because my own internal compass. I think that's what it comes down to. That's what I'm looking for. You have your own internal compass of your values, your morals, what you feel is right, and that's very personal. So it's important to accept that. And if you feel you're in a job or a relationship where that's not being honored, you can try changing. I don't know if anyone's ever been in a relationship where they try to change the other person. I do believe people can change. I believe personalities can change as well, but difficult. It's a lot of effort and hypnotherapy and all kinds of stuff. You have to rewire your brain. So it's not an easy path. And kind of, even though we got the question, I think it's important to get out of your comfort zone, actually, and that's where real growth happens as well. So it could be that can we change certain things? And you talk and you communicate and you have a respectful, and then the person adapts, you make compromises and you change. That's a possibility. But at one point, you have to take the full responsibility yourself. No, this is going against my morals, my principles. I don't want to be in this job. I don't want to be in this relationship. And you leave. So to me, this was for me life-changing. And it's a big part of the methodology that I teach. This course summarizes it. But I think this kind of, I was in a situation that I couldn't accept if I really thought about it. So that's where the honesty came in. And I have a responsibility then to say, okay, I'm a full-grown man, I have to make a choice, and then wise choice. And a wise choice really is, as I said, to repeat a little bit, that it comes back to your own internal values. So to me, that was life-changing, turned my life around, and it's what I try to teach in Kung Fu as well. And we actually have a physical exercise to go along with that. And I also have a challenge for everybody here. So this was not fully done yet. That's, of course, what non-acceptance does, which I just mentioned, which results in the fight or flight. I should put that up one earlier, but that's the idea, right? So, but every time you go against what is, that causes also contraction, resistance, stress, resulting in the fight or flight. So the acceptance opens you up, gives you more possibilities. So I encourage everybody to look at where you are now. Is it where you want to be? And be honest. Are you doing what you really want to do? Is it really your passion? Life is short. I turned 58 in November. It goes short. Goes by 30s, looks like a couple months ago. It's where am I? My reading glasses reveal my age. And the gray hairs a little. And then make that choice. And once again, the wise choice, that's different for everybody. It's not for me to say what your wise choice is, for nobody to say that. So I believe, we should not be followers, we should not be masters, we should be perhaps masters over ourselves. So when I talk about self-mastery, I'm always talking about, martial mind mastery. I always also joke that the paradox of self-mastery, that it's an ongoing journey. You actually never fully master yourself. It's a realization you're always growing, always learning. But I think the first step really in acceptance is the honesty. Take a good, hard look, and it helped me a lot to stop pointing the finger and to point it inwards, right? To not blame the winds or the tides or the waves, but set my sails different. Because, the waves, they go over everybody and the wind goes over everybody. It's how we set our sails that will determine where we're going. And if we don't do that, you might not know when you get there, right? It's kind of I would say being in a boat without a compass or without a North Star. So for me, the North Star, my big why, to kind of conclude that, and I have a little exercise if we have time, a little bit maybe, no, we don't have to do it. We did it last time for those of you here. To kind of conclude on it, I think the most empowering is not our strategies or what we're doing, and most of you probably heard this, but is your why. And when I work with people or work with clients, I always tell people to go a little bit deeper. Why do you want to get in shape? No, feel better. Why do you want to feel better? I want to feel better because then, I'm not out of breath. Why do you want to not be out of breath? It's nice not to be out of breath, isn't it? No, but why? Why not? Well, I want to be able to play with my children longer. Okay, why do you want to play with the children longer? I want to be healthy and you understand? So you can do this with everything. It's called seven questions deep. So apply that to your life and really find out your real why, right? So if your why is strong enough, the answers come. And then you get a pull motivation to do things. I don't believe in push motivation. People can stand next to you and shout and they'll get you going at the moment. We can jump up and down and raise our arms and get all hyped up. But if it's not coming intrinsically, it's not coming from the inside, if your why is not strong enough, we give up. So I think it's very important to have a very strong why. Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to be successful? Why do you want to make more money? Why? And then go deeper than just the first question you ask yourself. It's a very simple exercise. Write down 7. Start with 1. And sometimes it gets very difficult, sometimes it gets very personal. And you might be surprised at some of the answers, but it's a very powerful tool. And when you find your strong why, like I said, that's going to compel you. For example, to say, I have to quit smoking. I don't know if there's any smokers here. Not very motivating, right? People don't get up in the morning and say, yay, today I get to quit smoking. Mm-hmm. Or if you want to work out, it's just like, well, I have to work out. You know, people go up, I have to work. So you want to find, and that why will give you the deeper purpose. Maybe you're thinking of your grandchildren. Maybe you just want to make sure you live a healthy life and not have to take all kinds of medication. Who knows? So you create a very strong why, write it down, bring it out to the physical world. That's helped me a lot. If you just keep it in your head, it stays in your head. So journaling became very important to me because our memory is quite bad as human beings. We forget a lot of things. And if you have a life worth living, it's also worth journaling. So you write down things you heard, quotes someone said, and therefore something like this doesn't just become, you know, like watching a movie or an event. You take things away. So from from Rubianka, or from your speech, from your exercises here, if you thought that was interesting, I'm going to go home, I'm going to write that down. I'm going to write down the vertical line, a little more prepared.
You can visualize it. When you want to put yourself in strength before a presentation, just visualize the vertical line.
I don't want to be standing like that. Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Well, exactly. So I'm learning every day. That's what self-mastery is. So I learned things today from both of you already. So I'll go home. I don't always have one with me. Usually I do in my bag, actually, small one, like in between one. And I have like nice journals that feel value. I like buying books that have value. So nothing wrong with buying a 3-year-old journal or something, but if you buy a nice one and you really put your important notes in there, that's very empowering. You bring it out to the physical world, and then there's a bigger chance that you'll actually do it. And then you review it, and you write your whys down in there, and then you review them, and they change as life goes on. My whys today are different than they were 10 years ago, probably 5 years ago. Oh, we went that way already. We're back at the beginning. Oh yes, I like this. I said, I'll leave that. Silence. George Orwell. So my challenge for you guys, I was trying to keep my voice down a little bit here because I have the microphone based on, you have a nice calm, soft voice, I like that. I usually have quite a loud voice because I'm used to the bigger room. And my challenge to everybody here, it's up to you, of course, if you want to do it, is to write your own acceptance speech in a sense that you really sit down and decide, as I mentioned, what is important for you right now, and to repeat it one more time, are you doing what you want to do? Are you really doing what you want to do? If not, accept that and find ways to change. You can't change it, find ways to leave. You can't leave it, find ways to change. So use that, something comes back. Are you with the person you want to be? Are you doing the job you want to be? Are you happy with where you are right now? And then be honest. Be brutally honest with that. The more honest we are, the sooner we are in life, the sooner we'll actually move in the direction we want to go. So and I probably don't have time anymore right now. That's fine. That's good. So there is an exercise that you can do where you feel, when we do in Kung Fu, we tense our body. If I were to really go like that against you, you would have been easily pushed me. You still could probably go well. And so through the relaxation in Tai Chi, it's a big part of relaxing. We say when one part moves, everything moves, so everything is interconnected. So if someone pushes up my arm, we don't use blocks, we don't try to resist it, we accept it. So the acceptance doesn't mean we allow ourselves to get punched, right? Don't be a sucker for a sucker punch. So you still absorb it, and then you're able to give back again with energy. Okay, so thank you very much.